If you were on that ship, okay, so I'm assuming something bad. Well, obviously something bad happened because it disappeared. If you were on the Mary Celeste and it was like a matter of pirates or another, not necessarily pirates, but like the Dea Gratia trying to take you out, or underwater volcano, or a sea spout, or a water spout, or a squid or octopus, how would you want to go?
Octopus.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Water spout sounds cool too if it gets shot up in the air. And then come down, and I come down into the octopus's mouth.
Wow.
Or like it grabs me out of midair, spikes me.
Yeah, I think the octopus thing would be cool.
Just to say,
just suctions right to you and just slams you on the deck, and you're done.
Whoa, hello there, my guys and gals. Welcome to a special spooky episode of Mysterious Pals here with your hosts, Chris, and our best pal, Jordan. His dad called him Big Salad one time, but we just call him our pal Jordan. Jordan, how are you?
It's actually Jason.
Oh, my mistake.
It's all right.
What?
You know what I want to ask you there, friend?
Yeah, go for it.
You know when you're hunting people? You know that feeling? When you're hunting someone?
Every other day.
Why do the victims all split up? Why do they think it's a good idea? That's today's Mr. Ask You, Chris.
I think it's because it's easier to film 2 people running away from a murderer than it is to film like 20 or 5.
Problem solved. Mystery solved. There we go.
The magic of cinema. Well, in any case, welcome again.
How did I get here?
Wait, who is this? Where are you from? For those who are listening to the podcast,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
our dear pal Big Salad over here had a Jason mask on.
Big Salad coming at you.
But in any case, thank you for being here today.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Yes, if you're here in the United States, this should be posting on the day before Halloween. And we are here to talk about a mystery. I don't really know if this mystery is spooky, but it is strange. It is kind of, if you think the open ocean is spooky as I do,
Oh, yeah.
then you'll probably think this is a little spooky. But this is a story that I would say, what if I told you the mystery today could have been because or caused by a giant squid taking the 10 people aboard the Mary Celeste to their watery grave.
You're talking like a kraken?
Some type of large octopus squid.
Okay.
Attacking the Mary Celeste.
All right.
A ship that in 1904, I'm sorry, scratch that. In 1904, they said that a giant squid could have been the cause of the Mary Celeste mystery, which would have been taken place in 1972. That's wrong. 1872. So in 1872, the members, the people on the Mary Celeste disappeared.
And then in
1904, there was a
suggestion that it was a giant
suggestion
squid?
by, it's called the Chambers Journal of on September 17, 1904. The people on the Mary Celeste were plucked off one by one by a giant squid or octopus.
That's just crazy too, because there's like a long time where that was a general concern for people who were on the sea during this time, like giant sea creatures and like kraken, squid, octopus that can just, or like whales that can just like take out a ship. But like, they're starting to find that there are giant squids in the ocean.
I think
like deep down in the ocean.
I want to go on record and say that if I can't see any land, if I'm on a ship and I don't see any land in any of the horizon view, that's my hell. And I know last week during our Dyatlov Pass episode,
yeah,
if If you want to go back and listen to that, he talked about my living hell is a snowy mountain.
Yeah, cold, quiet, nothing.
Imagine the Arctic Sea. No, that would be, I'm dead. I would die of shock.
Yeah, it's endless nothing.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
And especially on
megalophobia, is that, no, it's like the
sounds like you're scared of a giant
fear
shark.
of big things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm scared of terrible things. Big things. Big terrible things. I'm scared of horses. Because they're too big.
They're too big. They're too big.
Yeah. I want to say that this is during a time when ships were just wood. They weren't even there wasn't even steel being used to make these things. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Mary Celeste, a ship that was found afloat, but everybody on the ship was gone, and everything was on the ship except for the people.
So no personal belongings were taken or anything like that?
Everything was fine. It wasn't and we'll get into their theories, but let's start from the beginning. The Mary Celeste, the information comes from a lot of different sources, which we'll post in the description and everything. A book called The Greatest Mystery of the Sea, Mary Celeste, Greatest Mystery of the Sea. There's another book called The World's Greatest Unsolved Mysteries I looked at. There's a website called Mary Celeste Net, which actually was used. It's pretty it's like a website that was started in 2001, and it seems like from what I looked into the website, the guy who made it actually was asked to help in a documentary in France or England. I think it was England. It might have been France, but in any case, and I'm sorry I got this messed up. The details messed up, but he was asked to help in these documentaries because he knew so much about
it. Okay,
and the website's awesome. It looks like it was made in 2001 GeoCities.
Netscape.
Yeah, it's pretty sparse, simple, but the information on it is awesome. And he even goes into breaks down here's what people said, here's what's true. And doing the research, I found a lot of the information out there has simple things dates wrong and simple things that are just easy to just look at the second source and you would see that it's not true, So
yeah, well, I mean that
happens with the internet.
Yeah, I mean that's
So we're going to be looking at the Mary Celeste, which was born, we'll say it was built, Nova Scotia, 1861, but is launched known as the Amazon.
It was called the Amazon?
It's called the Amazon originally, in 1861. It was a brigantine ship, which is basically a two-mast sailing vessel with fully squared rigged foremast and at least two sails on the main mast, a square topsail, and a gaff sail mainsail. Ships are super complicated.
Yeah.
Old ships. The main mast is the second and the taller of the two masts. So there's a main mast, which is taller, and behind another mast. And that's why they call it a brigantine.
Yeah, I don't remember this when we were playing Sea of Thieves, man. I don't remember ships like this.
I mean, this is the amount of rigging, the science that goes into all that, the mathematics that goes into it all to keep it all afloat and safe.
I know it's considered one of the biggest mysteries
in maritime, especially.
Maritime, yeah. Is this a passenger ship or is this
no?
Okay,
it's not a passenger ship. Okay. It's a ship for hauling stuff,
like trade.
Yes.
Okay.
So the maiden voyage was in 1861. Basically, the Amazon was going to take cargo of timber from America to Britain, to England, across to London specifically. Between 1861 to 1867, Amazon worked mainly in the West Indies trade, sometimes going to Europe randomly for different things, depending on, basically, it was just like a hauler. It's just for hire. Okay. Someone had owned the ship. He just transported stuff back and forth. Yeah. I think there was a company that owned it, and they hired a captain to just take stuff and deliver it. Goods and services, just like we have ships to do today.
So built in Canada,
Nova Scotia, and then in 1867, basically just as a working ship, just like anything else. Yeah. During that time, when it comes to hauling ships, in 1867, Cape Breton Islands, the Amazon was driven ashore in a storm. Was so badly damaged that the owner just abandoned it as a wreck and walked away. So that happened at the beginning of October, on October 15th, 1867. She was acquired as a derelict by a person named Alexander McBean of Glacier Bay, Nova Scotia. So it was just someone acquired it as a derelict. He took it and he sold the wreck to a businessman in November of 1868. and it was sold to an American from New York, Richard Hines. He made himself the captain, registered in America under the name of Mary Celeste.
Okay.
Specifically in the port of New York. However, in 1869, the ship was seized by the creditors, by Hines's creditors, for not paying his bill. And it was sold to New York Consortium, was basically a group of shipping, a company that would ship things, haul things around the world.
Basically, some guy had the ship, ditched it.
Some company owned the ship. It wrecked. They didn't want to pay for it to get fixed.
Traded hands a few times.
Sold it to another guy who grabbed it, and then eventually got to New York. Guy couldn't pay his bill.
Okay.
So a group in New York took it over.
Okay.
A company in New York who buys and sells ships, I'm guessing. And during the next 3 years, it didn't really sail. So it was in New York for 3 years. At this time, in 1872, I keep on saying 1900. What the hell's wrong with me? In 1872, a guy named Captain Benjamin Briggs invested his life savings in the Mary Celeste and took command. So Benjamin Briggs was born in Massachusetts in 1835. He was one of 5 sons of a Captain Nathan Briggs. So all of his sons, but one of them became captains of their own, or became sailors.
Okay.
A couple of them became captains.
It's in the family.
Yes. So he was around ships his entire life. He was a sailor. He was so well known in his ability to sail and captain a ship that he eventually got enough money to buy his own ship because he was just so good at it. Like, it was just his family, is in his blood. In 1862, he married his cousin.
As one does.
Yeah. And they had 2 children, one born in 1865 and another in 1870. So 72, she would have been 2 years old.
Okay.
So at the time of his daughter's birth, he decided to get some money together and buy a ship. Basically, sink his whole life, since he was sick of working for someone else.
Yeah.
He went to work for himself. So he achieved such a high standing within his profession that he was known by a lot of other sailors, especially in the area. He was known to be a good man, a religious man. He was just a good person. So, and this is going to help feed into like the story.
Okay.
To crew his ship, he handpicked 7 sailors that he knew from previously work. He knew where they came from. Some were from Germany, some were Dutch. There was a Dutch guy. There was a guy from Canada. Like, they were from around the area that were involved in shipping. So he wasn't just throwing a crew together.
Yeah.
These guys knew they were around ships. They knew what they were doing. Yes. So he brought their maiden voyage in 1872 was to deliver this cargo from America to Genoa, Italy. You with me?
Yes.
He wrote a letter. So once he picked everybody, he wrote a letter to his mother and said they're going to be setting voyage on their first shipment. And he cleared himself satisfied with his shipping crew. Like, he was happy with who he picked. He was happy with his crew. He just trusted them. So on November 7th, 1872, he brought his daughter, 2-year-old, and his wife, plus his 7 sailors he picked, plus himself. So it was 10 people. He left his son home with his grandmother to take care of her while he was going to school. Okay. Because he was 7 at the time. He left him home, take care of your grandmother. I'm going to go. But the thing was, like, it was just, we're doing a job. We're going to run.
Yeah.
We're going to run the shipment, come back. So on November 7th, 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York Harbor under Benjamin Briggs, his captain. And he was laden with a cargo of 1,700 barrels of alcohol. And this goes back to the research issue. They have labeled this, even in like other research I've done, like videos about this, like documentaries say that it's denatured alcohol.
Denatured alcohol.
But denatured alcohol wasn't invented in 1905.
Okay.
So this was actually spirit, which was used to fortify wine.
Okay.
So a lot of people say, a lot of the research, I guess, again, from this is other researchers saying this, that denatured alcohol is kind of unstable. And so it gives it more credit, like that it was the alcohol causing the problem. But actually, it was alcohol, still flammable, still can explode, but it was spirits added to
Not
wine.
denatured.
Right.
Okay.
Because denatured alcohol, again, wasn't invented yet.
Not as highly volatile.
Correct. While the Mary Celeste was getting ready to sail, another ship. So while the Mary Celeste were preparing to sail on this voyage, the De Gratia, a Canadian brigantine ship, was nearby in Hoboken, New Jersey, awaiting a cargo of petroleum that was also going to Genoa. So the De Gratia was 8 days behind the Mary Celeste when it left port. So on November 15th, the De Gratia left. November 7th, Mary Celeste left.
Okay.
They were both on roughly the same parallel course. So they were both following the same course across the ocean to Italy. De Gratia reached the position between midway between the Azores and the coast of Portugal about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, December 4th, land time, right, 1872, which would have been Thursday, December 5th, sea time.
Okay.
Because I guess they would have crossed.
Okay, right.
I don't know how that works.
Jeez.
There's like the research goes in like how they calculate that, which I'm sure has something to do with that line, the dumb line in the middle of the ocean, which it's not just like someone like it's not just like a thing you go through and you're like, oh, it's nighttime. That's what I envision in my
the sun's
head.
down.
It's gone. That's not what it is because I'm not. I don't really know, but that's what in my mind.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what, it's like whoa, it's night.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's going on. All right.
As soon as you cross that line.
Yeah, it goes from day to
time
night.
to get
Like
up.
next
Time to
day,
go to bed.
next day, yeah. Boom. Which, like, if you're flying and like the plane just goes dark, you're like, oh crap. All right, I don't know how the world works. So they left on November 15th. This was December 4th. They found the Mary Celeste, which was 8 days ahead of them. So Captain Morehouse was the captain of the De Gratia. He came on deck, and his helmsman reported a vessel heading unsteadily towards the De Gratia at a distance about 6 miles. So they saw the ship coming towards them, but they knew that ship should have been going the other way.
Okay.
Because it would have been heading towards Genoa. The erratic movements of the ship was odd. That's why Morehouse started paying attention. He suspected something was wrong, but
like no one was actually steering.
It was just floating around.
Yeah.
It was odd because there was no distress signals run up on their masts. Like normally when a ship, I guess this time, they can't just radio.
Yeah.
The ship would have some type of flags that would say we're distressed.
Yeah.
So there was nothing like that. So they watched it for 2 hours and tried hailing it, which I guess this time was shooting a small cannon.
Okay.
It's a shot, like a small shot they would use to communicate, I guess, maybe. At this time, I don't know what else it would have been. It's not like they were just like waving because it was miles away. Like, hey, I'm hailing you.
Hail.
So they were getting no reply. They weren't really seeing anybody on board. Through the spyglass, they weren't seeing anything. And this was still in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I guess they might have also tried. I don't know when they started doing this or when they stopped doing it, but maybe like lantern signals. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess it was daytime though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could still see a lantern in the day.
I imagine, yeah.
Especially if I'm guessing, they had these small cannons that would shoot different types of shot that was for communications, for simple things.
Yeah.
That's from other history that I know, different situations. I'm guessing it's still the same. So the Captain Morehouse knew Captain Briggs. He knew that he was a good sailor.
I mean, you think he would know, Briggs would know like any kind of communication
system, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's why it made Captain Morehouse know something wrong. He would have put up flags.
Yeah.
To say they're in distress. He wouldn't have been driving erratically.
Right.
I guess not driving, but like, he wasn't doing donuts in his boat, which would have been cool. So he knew Captain Briggs was a good seaman. He had dinner with him before. He knew him of the sea. He was a man of the sea.
Yeah.
So the chief mate of the De Gratia, he was he was in charge of the boarding. And the reason I you guys up, because they come up again on whenever they're trying to figure out what's going on. So it wasn't Captain Morehouse going to the ship. He sent his chief mate over there to figure out what happened.
Okay.
So they caught up with them. Again, for 2 hours, they watched it just kind of move about.
Listlessly move around.
Yeah, and there was no reason. And they knew there were storms in the area days prior, so they know something could have been wrong. So
Okay.
as they got closer, they would see that, and this is falsely reported that everything was perfectly fine, the sails were up, and it was just sailing. But actually, there was damage to a lot of the stuff. Parts of the sails were blown away. Like the only sail set was lower top sail, jib, and the 4 top mast staysail, which, again, ships are complicated as hell.
Yeah.
Whenever you have like ropes and everything. Like, I can't believe people got on these wooden things. And not only that, they like careened them to clean them off.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, whatever.
Like, yeah.
I would never done that. I would just jumped overboard the first chance I got and just said, forget this. This is hell. So basically there was different sails that would have been used to control yourself, used to stay afloat, like just used to move.
Yeah.
Where some were ripped, some weren't even, some were not like, were furled.
Okay.
Some of them were like, it looks like there was a lot of damage to the rigging.
Okay.
To keep the sails up and control them, be able to turn the ship and everything. There was a lot of ropes. There's ropes hanging loosely over the sides, which is important later. Come up again on why ropes were hanging over. Some say
try to escape
or get back on.
Oh yeah.
Generally, it was reported that the vessel was found to be good and seaworthy.
So yeah, I've heard that part of it before. I didn't know about like the sails and stuff like that.
But you figure, as we'll go into, it's in the ocean for no one knows how long, just floating about. So it was
like at least 8 days though, right? Because it wasn't.
Yeah, they're 8 days behind.
Behind, yeah.
And there was logs, and we'll talk about that. So generally, it was reported that the vessel was found to be in good seaworthy condition, and it was the general first impression once the chief mate landed was everybody left in a hurry, like they're gone. The ship's cargo, provisions, and personal belongings of the crew were all intact, although wet and strewn about from the ship being tossed around in storms.
Yeah.
The cabin's interiors were wet and untidy from water that had entered through doorways and skylights, but otherwise were in reasonable order. So basically, things were there. They were just thrown about from storms.
Yeah.
And people not fixing
caught
them.
in the storm. Yeah.
Doors were swinging open.
Okay.
Water was getting in, where usually they would batten down the hatches.
Right.
I guess that would be the word.
That sounds right.
I would want to say that. They had left behind things like their boots, their pipes, the sailors did. Captain Morris' explanation was that they left in a panic, thinking the vessel was sinking. However, it did not sink.
What do you think or not only Captain Morris, but like someone seeing a ship like that prior to his first mate or chief mate boarding it, what do you think they would think of that ship they saw just aimlessly moving through the water like that?
I would think, you mean originally before they got there, they would say probably pirates, or everybody died from like
something
sickness.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times that happened too.
Sure, yeah.
Where they got, some of the water was bad.
Yeah.
They got sick, which is why they usually drink alcohol and stuff on those.
Yeah. But yeah, people drank alcohol for a long time because water wasn't safe to drink.
Right, especially when you're transporting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that he probably just knew this is a good captain. Something must have happened.
Right.
Maybe pirates.
Oh, right, yeah, because he knew. Yeah, he knew.
He knew them.
Yeah,
He's like, there's no way he would have done this on purpose.
Yeah.
So something happened. This is bad. He's not a person that would not be able to control their ship.
Yeah.
However, they found that the chronometer, and the sextants were not found on board, and these were the things they would use to
navigate.
Yeah. And the last entry on the ship's slate showed that the ship made the island of St. Mary in the Azores on November 25th. So that was the last entry. Now this is the log, the general log that's used by the first mates and other members of the sailing crew to keep logs of what's going on. It wasn't the captain's log.
Oh.
This is just the first mate's log, a general log they used.
Okay.
The ship's slate, they called it.
Okay.
Like separate from the captain's log. And it was St. Mary's Islands and Azores on November 25th. So that was the December 4th it was discovered.
Okay. And when did it leave? November
7th.
Okay.
And they had the last log entry was November 25th.
Oh, geez.
So they sailed from the 4th to the 25th. and then were discovered. And something happened after that.
Yeah.
But they don't know, you really don't know what, if it happened 5 days later or happened on that night.
Yeah.
And that the ship was like, this is like the paper this is the book that would be like, this ship has been these places.
Yeah. And I wonder how far that is from, because they're going to Genoa, is that right?
Yeah. Is that how you say it? Yeah. I said Genoa. Genoa.
Sometimes I say Genoa because they're like Genoa salami or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I think it might be Genoa.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
It's a delicious part of Italy. They also found the main hatch was secure, but the fore and lazarette hatches were open. Their covers were beside them on the deck. So the lazarette hatch is usually a storage locker for gear and equipment that a sailor would use around the decks for sailing. So like different types of tools they would use and things like that. Rigging. It's typically found below the weather deck in the stern of the vessel and is accessible through a hatch on the main deck and through a doorway from the below deck. So basically this is a hatch that shouldn't have been open. It shouldn't have been left open because it's like where the important stuff is that they use to make the ship safe and secure. And it's if that stuff gets wet or gets ruined, like it's hard for them to control the ship. The ship's single lifeboat was a small ship, apparently been stowed across the main hatch. Again, main hatch was closed, but was missing. So the only lifeboat was gone.
Okay.
They found the ship's daily log again in the mate's cabin, and it was the 25th. As I said, the 25th, was in the Azores. Here's another point. I messed 9 days earlier from when they found it. That's whenever the log, again. The position was off St. Maria Island in the Azores. It was 400 nautical miles from where the Delgadia found it. So it's 400 nautical miles from where, that's the last log, 400 miles.
Okay.
So that's why it's weird that like it went 400 miles by itself.
Yeah.
Or what? In Captain Briggs's cabin, he found personal items. So he didn't take a lot of stuff with him, except for the navigation system and his logbook, and all the papers that would be used to identify the ship, like insurance information, owner information, that type of stuff, like stuff you'd find in your car.
Yeah.
So he found personal items scattered, including a sword under the bed. So he didn't take any weapons with him. So it wasn't like, for some reason, his sword was under the bed.
Yeah.
So that lead people to believe that, were they being attacked? Were they not being attacked? That type of thing.
Sorry, you said the identification papers were gone?
Yes, the navigation equipment.
Pink slip?
The captain's logbook and any type of material they would use for identification of the ship. Except for the first mate's slate. The clock and the compass were destroyed. But that could have been during a storm.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The galley was a wreck with ample provisions, though. So there was food, and it was a wreck from the storms, but it was there. And there's stories about like everything was pristine and everything was perfect, and they just like zapped, everybody was gone.
Yeah.
But that's not actually true.
Okay.
And that's from the record called the Gibraltar hearings, which is what the case of like the research of this. Like Gibraltar hearings is what happened when they found the ship. We'll go into that. It's what happened after the ship was found. There was no obvious signs of fire or violence, and the evidence indicated an orderly departure from the ship by means of a missing lifeboat, but it was quick. They didn't grab provisions. They may have grabbed some, but it was a small lifeboat for 10 people, and it wasn't that big. And also, it was in the middle of the ocean. So if it was a small ship,
might have gotten far.
Right. So after returning from Mary Celeste, the chief mate of the Delgadia reported the findings to Morehouse, who decided to bring the derelict into Gibraltar 600 nautical miles away. So basically, he's like, we got to take this ship with us because of maritime salvage law.
Oh.
A salver can expect a substantial share of the combined value of rescued vessel and cargo. It's the exact award depending on the degree of danger inherited by the salvaging.
Jeez.
So while many people are like, who cares? There was 1,700 barrels, which
of spirit.
Yeah, they're transporting stuff in barrels, which is crazy.
Yeah.
1,700 of them, which is crazy. And they get a cut of the revenue. So
did
they actually find the ship like this?
Right.
Right. So we'll go into that. So the Dalgadia Morehouse divided his crew of 8 between 2 vessels. A vessel that requires 8 people to drive alone, plus his ship, they split into 2 groups.
Okay.
So it was like, again, going back to that, how much work did it take to get that ship there? Yeah. They did finally get to Gibraltar on December 12th. Found December 4th, got to so if you think about the ship, the sail, it was like about a month. From when it left.
Meanwhile, the son's in New York with the grandma.
But again, this kind of round trip may have taken 2-3 months.
Oh, yeah.
So he probably wasn't expecting anything yet.
Right.
And they don't even, I don't even think there's any research on what happened with him or any records of him after this point. The Dalgadia reached December 12th. This Gibraltar salvage court hearings began on December 17th after they got the report from Morehouse of what happened. In his conclusion, the judge praised the crew of the Dalgadia for their great courage in the view of the risk of both vessels dividing the crew, getting it to shore.
So this is like an inquiry into like what happened.
Yes. Gibraltar would have been the next, I guess would have been, because it's the closest, it would have been the ones in charge of based on maritime law, I guess. I think. Don't know. The only thing I know about Gibraltar is a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's getting into the Mediterranean, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Yes. I'm going to go with that, yeah.
Some guy, is it the guy who pushed the stuff over, pushed the pillars over?
Hercules?
Troy?
Did Hercules do it?
Oh, no.
Dude, I should know this. Edit this out.
Come on. Do you know fake history?
Yeah.
And that's the only history. I mean, come on. Again, Gibraltar, something in history about Gibraltar. Rocks of Gibraltar, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess these rocks going into the Mediterranean. I'm not a sailor.
That's like a pathway, right?
Sure. It's the way into the Mediterranean from the sea.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Attorney General in this case, while the judge praised Dalgadia's crew, the Dalgadia is looking for cash. They're looking for a payout.
Dalgadia. Okay.
Dalgadia. It's a good.
Gotcha?
Anyway, the Dalgadia. The Attorney General in charge of the inquiry suspected mischief in investigating. So the Attorney General in this case suspected
some wrongdoing.
Right, because again, how would you? This is such a cut and dry thing. Like we found the ship in the middle of the ocean with all this really expensive stuff.
Pay
on
us.
It. Yeah, and everybody left. Again, it goes back to like we talked about in the one of the other second episode, the Bangor Fort.
Yeah.
You have just people at this time like saying, "Oh yeah, those people left. We don't know what happened to them."
Yeah, they gotta kill those people, put their bodies on like
throw them in the ocean.
And like cut the.
Oh yeah, just put them on the rescue ship or the lifeboat.
Yeah,
and just push them over and said, "Oh, they left."
Yeah.
Unless they wound up, but obviously they would have not made it anywhere. So, what happened was, after 3 months of investigations by this guy, the Attorney General, they found no evidence of foul play. Eventually, the salvagers received a payment of only 1/6 of the $46,000 in that cash for which the ship and the cargo had been insured. So it was only insured for $46,000 in that cash for that day.
Okay.
What it goes back to is, I guess the captain of Dalgadia kind of always said, like, he had it out for me. He was trying to screw me, and that's why we only got that much money. Because, he was trying to prove that. He couldn't prove it conclusively,
right,
so we're just going to say that.
Yeah. After
that, and at this time, like the people, the group, the company that hired Briggs to deliver this money, the spirits, they're like looking for their cash. They're looking for their hand it over so we can pay, or we get paid, and it's just sitting in port. And they're like, we want to get our money, get this over as much as possible, or fast as possible. So then the ship, eventually after 3 months, the ship was sent and everybody got paid.
Okay.
Well, So after the hearings, we're going to go to theories, but the Mary Celeste, the rest of its life of the ship, it didn't have a good fate as ships go, obviously, because it was at this point like a serious thing had happened. It's starting to, word's starting to spread, stories are spreading.
I feel like people wouldn't want to have that ship.
No, all owners, people avoided it. Eventually it changes hands many times. 12 years later, after this incident, It sailed from Boston with a mixed cargo and was wrecked off the coast of Haiti. All research suggests that it was an insurance scheme. They were just trying to wreck it to like,
Oh, wow.
because I guess it's a cursed ship.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So the Mary Celeste was deliberately wrecked on June 3rd, 1885, when it sank after striking a reef off the northern coast of Haiti, and it sits at the bottom of the ocean. There was, I think, Clive Kusler, an author, said he found it, but recently, like 2001. But people, I guess they still don't know where it is, or maybe they found it recently. But this author, Clive Kusler, is a really big author. My grandfather used to read all his books. He's like 1,000 books. But he found it supposedly, but then they carbon dated the lumber, and it was like the wood, the timbers, and it was like those were grown after the Mary Celeste already wrecked. So
okay.
So I guess it was proven false.
Someone did retrofit it there and like added on to it. But I guess that still would have been.
That's when Captain Briggs got it.
That still would have been like after
Right.
the fact that it wrecked. Okay.
Yes.
That was found, and then they did the timber thing.
Yeah, the timbers would have been earlier than that. So here's some theories. These are theories that common. A lot of them are insane. Some of them are like, and really, it's how would you even know? The one thing I will go back and that I want to point out, like there was, and I think I talk about this later.
Are they going to deal with Yetis?
Not quite.
Or party rockets?
The party rocket. Yeah. Well, all their clothes were probably on still. So when you think about, if you're not sure what the party rocket is, go back to the last episode of
Yes, yeah. Episode 6.
Yeah, the Outlive Pass.
Yeah.
When they talk about the party rocket. Our theory, not official theory.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back. So there was an issue with the ship, the small ship that was taken, the lifeboat. And I'm actually going to say that to the end because
there's an issue with it?
There's an issue in how it was taken.
Okay.
But I'll go back to that.
First
theory.
Can we recap really quick how the ship was described? Right? When
they found it?
When they found it. So some of the sails were
torn. Some were still up or furled.
Yeah.
Some were, the rigging was, there's ropes.
The ropes hanging
from the rigging.
Yes. The life
boat was gone.
A lot of stuff was like waterlogged, like doors were
storms,
swinging in and out. The navigation
tools
were gone.
Gone with the captain's log.
Okay.
But not the captain's sword.
Not his sword. There was a log left by, like the general log that was left
for the ship.
That's dated, November 25th? Is that right?
27th.
Okay. And
it was that they were off, November 25th.
It looks like some provisions were taken.
What's that?
Some provisions might have been taken.
I don't think they even know.
Okay.
But because maybe they ate a lot. So there still was ample provisions to continue their voyage. Okay. It's not like they ran out of food. Is what they're trying to say. Yeah. Most things were there, including the boots of other sailors, the sailors' boots, sailors' pipes, things that they would have grabbed if they were leaving.
Like tools and stuff like that.
Things they would have grabbed if they were trying to get off the boats.
Oh, right.
In an orderly fashion. But if it's something that was quick, the things they might have just ran and grabbed and left, right? If it was something serious.
Okay.
That they thought that they were going to die or that it was going to sink.
Right. Theories, let's have them.
So there's a bunch of them, but some of them are crazier than others. So first thing is piracy. Someone suggested the pirates attacked the Mary Celeste, leading the crew to abandon ship. However, there's no signs of struggle, no blood. All the expensive stuff was still there. Yeah. Like there was still the spirits, the cargo, which would be the first thing they took.
But wouldn't they want to have stolen the ship too?
Maybe something, and that could have been true. Maybe they couldn't get on. Maybe the ship, the other team dropped, the people got off and the ship got away from the pirates, and then maybe they didn't, maybe they thought they were going to get boarded, and the pirates with the last second were like, "Nope, sorry." It was just like a misunderstanding. Party rocket hit it. Now they were dancing. Next one is a mutiny. Another theory is a mutiny occurred, causing the crew to force Captain Briggs and his family into the ship, lifeboat, and abandon ship. However, where does everybody else go? There's no, like, he would have had his sword. This is why I pointed out the sword. Like, he would have had his sword to fight back against a mutiny, or maybe. They would have put him in the ship, and then, it's his ship, so at some point, his sailors that are his friends or handpicked by him would have, had to have I mean, people would have known that ship is registered to. Yeah.
Right. It all seemed like.
Also, why wouldn't they be on the ship still?
Right. But he also like knew these guys or knew of them.
Right.
Why would they want to throw a mutiny against them? Like it seems like them getting there with all this alcohol, they would
get paid.
Get paid.
Yeah, he's not going to get paid until they get there.
Yeah.
Another theory is the crew of the DaGuardia staged the mystery to obtain the salvage reward. So they killed him, broke everything up, made it look broken, and then that's one of the more believable ones.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that right now.
Another issue, this is another far out one. The water spouts, a water spout, which is a water spout is a tornado-like phenomenon over the water, could have briefly terrified the crew, causing them to abandon the ship temporarily, thinking that, again, because it happened so quickly, they left their shoes.
Now explain why some things are left, and maybe why navigation things were taken.
Because they were getting that ship to navigate.
Yeah,
they were going to get. I think that's one of the main things is like they obviously knew they were getting in that ship so they can navigate in that small ship.
Yeah,
but one, they were on a small ship and they didn't make it anywhere, obviously.
Yeah, but so why would they ditch their ship for a smaller one and with a water spout though? Like, wouldn't that be more dangerous? And
there was water spouts leave damage that was not present. There was no damage to the ship.
But there were to some of the sails, right?
But that was because it was in thunderstorms.
Right.
Like they were typical of the damage to the damage to it's a good point. The damage to the sails and stuff and the rigging was just typical damage to a thunderstorm.
Okay.
Whenever especially when you don't have some guy out there fixing everything.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like they're not keeping up with everything.
Okay.
And even Morehouse, the DaGuardia, said that there was storms in the area, especially off the Azores and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Another one is an undersea earthquake. Similar to a waterspout, in theory, an undersea earthquake can generate disturbance, frightening the crew into leaving the ship. Again, why would they get on a smaller ship?
Yeah.
There's no substantial evidence of damage, again, for this theory. And then also, no one else in the area. This is a common shipping lane. No other ships reported.
That's right.
No one in the Azores Islands reported any type of earthquake. An earthquake would have been
totally forgot about that, yeah.
And also, again, even Morehouse, the DaGuardia may have even experienced an undersea earthquake. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're on the same route.
Right.
Like running parallel. Yeah.
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
Another theory, the salvage fraud, that the members of the Mary Celeste abandoned the ship as a crew to get the salvage from it, to get like a fraud, insurance fraud. So they abandoned
the Mary Celeste
and said,
their own ship.
They abandoned it in the intention of returning to the ship later, though. So they would have left on the small lifeboat and say like, oh, this happened.
So they've gotten paid more from that than actually.
I guess they would have returned to it and been like to get the insurance money because the ship got destroyed or something like that. Okay. But something happened, they didn't make it back.
See, I would say that's definitely a possibility. But before you were saying, what's it? Sorry, Briggs.
Captain Briggs.
Wasn't he like an upstanding person?
Yeah, he was very religious. So lying wasn't his thing. You know, he had lots of money.
Definitely possible.
He wasn't a crook, is what I'm saying. He had money. He had enough money to buy his own ship. He has a family. He's seen as a person in his community.
Yeah.
Other sailors, like well-known sailors, know him.
This seems uncharacteristic for him to do something like that.
Another natural disaster theory is a volcanic eruption underwater created a disruption in the surface of the water. It made them think the ship was going to sink, so they all got on the smaller ship. But again, I've never been in a earthquake or underwater volcano situation on a ship.
Or what was it? The
water spout.
Yeah, never in one of those. Can tell you.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah.
In that case, see ya, because that's not.
No.
I'm not going to be on the ocean. I do not want to go. Even want to go on this giant Carnival cruise line.
If there was a threat of anything like that, I'd run like head first and like the hardest thing I could find, hoping I just knock myself out and then die with whatever happened.
Yeah.
If there's like some threat of that. But again, with the volcanic thing, wouldn't other people have reported that?
Right. I mean, unless it was a smaller thing. And there's always those stories about like what's going on in the Bermuda Triangle. one of the biggest mysteries ever, you know? And it's like, well, there could be like, there's even like stories out there, and I think these are true. I'm not sure, but there's like the gravity from those, like gravity in that area dips by like a 0.001% or something crazy like that. And that causes instrumentation issues.
Yeah. Apparently there's like multiple places that are like Bermuda Triangle around the world.
Yeah. Like the Dragon Triangle and stuff. But then also like, that there is a issue with volcanoes, and that's what causes like the Poseidon to flip over, like the water, the buoyancy of the water, like an underwater volcano changes the buoyancy of the water, and the ships go down a lot easier. But again, the Mary Celeste didn't go down.
Right.
Because the introduction of carbon dioxide would change, I guess.
Yeah.
Another, probably the most believable, alien abduction.
You always got to throw the aliens in, man. You have to.
Because it's so mysterious, obviously that's going to pop up.
Yeah, yeah. Probe some bodies, you know.
There's no evidence of this, obviously. At least that we know of.
Yeah. Because why would they take the life raft with them?
Right. Maybe they needed a life raft.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case. You know, those aliens.
They couldn't beam up the whole ship, so they had the ship was too big, so
they got everybody.
Like,
they couldn't do it individually;
raft.
it would take too long. So they do, yes.
Get in the life raft and then come on up.
Yeah, everybody, get in there. Come on. So I'm gonna go back to this one. The one that's more common. There's two more, and one is the most common, like the most thought of, is the problem, and there's another one that's like more believable.
Okay.
The most popular theory is alcohol fumes.
I think that's the one I saw something to do with alcohol. Like it didn't leave a trace, like something burned, it didn't leave a trace because of like, I think you kind of mentioned that earlier, like that would have been the, what do you say on that?
Denatured alcohol.
Denatured alcohol.
Yeah,
that's something like that, but
it's reported incorrectly that it was denatured alcohol because it's very volatile.
Okay.
But still, this is spirits. This is still alcohol.
Yeah,
and
flammable.
It can still flammable. So the theory with this one is that the fumes, and it's well known that these fumes can cause little explosions.
Okay.
Little pops here and there from being ignited in the air. Whatever. Like it could happen. Static electricity buildup. You're a wooden ship. Water, wind, like lots of different things going on. So the idea that these explosions were happening, and maybe a larger explosion happened from a sailor going down below deck to smoke a cigar, caused the general explosion. Because of these explosions, they thought that, oh crap, get in the ship.
Yeah. And everything's about to blow, about to burn.
Get in this one, this smaller lifeboat, and we'll just, because rigging was hanging over the side, they thought, which obviously doesn't really make sense with the wind and everything. Like they thought maybe they threw they tied off and were just dragging behind the other ship, the Mary Celeste. Oh. But then they got in a storm, they got cut and they couldn't get back, or something happened. Someone didn't tie the right knots. Do
you think someone would have known though, if this is one of the reasons why this happened, like not to go smoke down near all the highly flammable or explosive? We're
told that when we're born. There's signs everywhere, every gas station. Like we're in a world of like this idea of like, and in this time of our history, like in our time right now, like we are told from a small age that gas explodes. Yeah. This is some sailors in late 1800s. They probably know that alcohol explodes, but they probably don't. It may have been like this specific type of thing because of the pressures in the area was pushing more gas out, and it wasn't being vented correctly. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't know if they would know the science behind it, but like, because this is it might be known that that's something that could happen. Right, but this has also like been fire. The ship was retrofitted to make another deck for. They built another deck for stuff, for cargo. They made it longer. So, and this is the first. Since this is the first trip. Okay. So maybe they know on smaller ships that happens, it doesn't happen, or whatever. Or because there was two, maybe he went down to the lower deck and there was more down there, whatever. And this goes into this other theory that was reported October 30th, 1910 by the LA Herald Sunday magazine. So this is a magazine from an actual scan of this magazine from 1910 that I found. In this magazine, there was an insurance appraiser who was leading the investigation a leading investigator in sea mysteries in the early 20th century, wrote a similar theory about the lifeboat. So he wrote a theory about the lifeboat. He said,
so he has experience.
Yeah, he's an historian. He's a assurance appraiser for sea mysteries, like for ship.
Yeah.
In the 20th century, he looked out and he really paid attention to the idea, or really put notion. He really focused on the idea that there was the fact that only a single lifeboat was missing from the vessel, and there's only one lifeboat. But he discovered that a rope of the boat was cut, not untied, which indicated that Mary Celeste was abandoned quickly, which we knew.
Mm-hmm.
There was mention several times in that ship's log, rumbling with small explosions, which they knew, which is something for transporting alcohol and stuff. This cargo naturally gives off explosions, gas that sounds described as quite common. So this goes into like the fumes theory.
Okay.
He supposes that one day there were more intense explosions and a sailor ventured below deck to light a cigar. There's accumulated fumes because of a storm that they closed any ventilation or whatever. So an explosion so violent because of the buildup that it blew off the hatches that we talked about.
Oh,
because the hatches are connected,
right.
and it blew those doors off because they were laying next to it. It's not like someone took them off normally. They were kind of laying but also the ship was moving around during the storms. Maybe they were unconnected, not secured, and so they were blown around. Because I mean, if you've seen videos, because I'm never going to go and witness storms in the middle of the ocean. Apparently, they get very big and very like mountain size type of like dips and everything. And so they could have been. I don't know if they're tied down or how they're connected, but it blew those doors off. He ends his theory by saying that the captain was fearing for his family, and the crew piled in the one lifeboat, cut the rope, and then abandoned the vessel, thinking that it was going to explode.
Like in a hurry, yeah. Like cut it. Let's get it. We gotta get
like, but if it already happened, it scared them enough. But it already happened. Like the explosion already happened. They're like, "Crap, get out of here!" But like it already happened and was done.
I mean, I guess they could have thought there might have been more explosions. Like
maybe, but there was no fire.
Yeah.
There was no fire or instant of a fire. Like they didn't find any evidence. So.
Yeah. Even for them, the explosion to happen, realize there's no fire, they realize they're not even dead. I feel like there's a lot of time between that and like getting onto the life raft or lifeboat, cutting it. Like even if you're in a hurry, you think you would either hear another explosion, but like, we really got to get out of here, or another explosion, or they see a fire. If it's just
no fire.
Yeah, just one.
Blew the doors off. So at some point where you're trying to get everyone on the lifeboat and cutting it and getting into the water, you'd have been like, oh, it's actually fine. Yeah, I like how he specifically mentions that the lifeboat was cut, not untied, knowing, I guess points to his theory that like they knew they weren't coming back. They were leaving quickly. Right. They weren't going to tie this off again. They cut the rope as opposed to they cut the rope to get the boat down.
The intent of knowing they're not coming back.
Knowing they're not going to tie it back up. So they knew that like this explosion or whatever happened was so severe that they weren't coming back to the ship. No fire had started. There was no evidence of any type of fire. And all the barrels were still intact. They sold them. They got back to the purchaser. But they knew that they weren't coming back because the rope was cut.
Do you think like they would have, I don't know.
So the theory about them just like getting in for a little bit and then getting back on. So that's all the theories I have. That's the last theory is besides the aliens, which is the most obvious.
Yeah.
So the Mary Celeste
solves the solution.
So what do you think in this we'll say sea monsters mysterious side of scale of mysteries?
Yeah.
Where are you hanging? Is this a realistic thing?
Where are you hanging? Sea monsters? Like as far as like what happened to them?
What do you think happened to them?
I was generally honestly it's leaning.
And also another theory, obviously the one I mentioned at the beginning, the 1910 theory about the giant octopus.
Yeah.
That's another theory. Obviously, I'm gonna just call that back.
I was honestly leaning towards them being frightened by something and then leaving in a hurry.
He took his navigation equipment, so he was going to navigate on that boat.
Yeah.
But he took his captain's log for whatever reason.
Maybe to like keeping log of what's going on in case it does ever get found. Right.
Well, also that could be
purpose of a log.
Also, that could be like his log of like money.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that could be it. It could have been like a log of like what they had and where they were going, like the records of his like bank books and stuff. So they didn't find anything else. He obviously wasn't scared of an enemy, maybe because he didn't take a
sword
weapon. Not to say the other guys had weapons.
But to go collect all these things after hearing this explosion and then getting on
They didn't collect anything.
No, but like the navigation stuff.
Yeah, he took his navigation. So he must have been, if they didn't even have time to put their shoes on, some of them, he must have been close enough to that stuff to get out.
It's just weird that they hear explosion. They have the time to get on the ship.
They cut it.
Call
everybody, get on ship.
And it'd be like, you think that at some point, like, oh, there's no fire.
Right. You would have heard it. You would have smelled it.
Someone would have been dead, or people would have been dead.
Right. He may have been, whoever did that, there was no body on it, so he could have been hurt.
Yeah.
But they would have had to go get him.
Well, yeah.
Or maybe he was like.
Oh, right.
So it's almost like, again, it's like they vanished. Like they plucked them. Like
yeah. That's why
they cut this. And that's why the rope thing is such an interesting idea. It's like there's such a little twist is they cut the rope knowing they weren't coming back.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't cut it, they untied it, they knew they were going to try to load it back on.
Right.
Because I'm guessing it's on the side of the ship and it lowers down. And if they cut the rope to get away,
they're not getting back.
They must be trying to get away quickly.
Yeah.
That's just like such a key little thing that they're trying to get away quickly and knowing they're not coming back.
See, I was originally leaning towards them thinking some kind of disaster was happening on their ship, but the fact that it was cut makes me feel like it was fraud, not on their part, but on the De Gratia.
I was going to just say that. Did De Gratia load them onto the ship, cut the thing, and say?
That's what I'm saying. That's why.
Or did he?
Or they killed him, throw him on the ship, cut it, and
hope that it would sink.
They'll just go die in a bad storm somewhere, never be seen again.
And something like.
But his navigation tools are gone, so maybe they did it as a plan. Like they thought.
That's the other twist.
They thought something was going to happen to them. They thought they'd leave in a hurry.
Did he grab his stuff when the De Gratia got?
Throw it on, like the De Gratia guy, the captain. What's his name again? Sorry,
Morehouse.
Just take it, or so one of his people just threw it on the life raft to give the impression that they had to leave in a hurry.
Maybe. I mean, especially the navigation. But why wouldn't they send? There's still other stuff they should have got rid of the slate too.
Oh right.
I mean, if they were rounding them up, they and that could be again. I think at this point the most natural I think my theory is jumping off the ship because of an explosion seems. There was other theories. No, that seems like the most likely, but also equally as likely is that the De Gratia, for whatever reason, maybe there was something happened in their past and Morehouse didn't like Briggs.
Oh, okay.
And was trying to screw him over somehow. Maybe, but I'm sure they would have found that out. The likelihood of them taking them, killing the family, killing the sailors, throwing them overboard.
Yeah.
Sinking the little ship. Why would he give him the navigation equipment? Unless he was trying to be like, I'm going to let you leave, take your navigation equipment, you guys get out.
Oh, right, yeah, go and, yeah.
And then sink them. Or they didn't make it.
Or they didn't make it, yeah.
But then they would have had to kill them.
If they made it, then they would have been known that, like, what happened.
So they had to have killed
them. They were basically becoming...
Because I don't think Briggs would have taken a sword.
Yeah.
He would have grabbed his sword unless they surprised him so much that he didn't go back and grab his sword. It was underneath his bed. Which I don't know how much of that's where it's supposed to be. Maybe it's moving around. Maybe he got knocked out. But why would he grab his other stuff? Why would the people grab that? And
well, maybe Morehouse and his crew are trying to give the illusion that they needed to escape.
Yeah.
In order to fulfill their like lie that they're trying to portray.
The other thing that's not really that I just remembered that the other theory is that the fumes given off by the alcohol caused some type of episode with the whole crew. But this stuff has been transported many times.
Yeah.
Not in this ship, but transported around the ocean for years.
Yeah, right.
So this kind of sea madness might have been known or not known.
Yeah.
That could have caused them all to jump in the ship because of the alcohol. The fumes that were causing them to act erratically.
Just wanted to party.
Yeah. Party cannon.
They party cannon off the ship.
Yeah. Was there a cannonball into the...
Cannonball!
Yeah.
And they just die because they're drunk. Yeah, that's...
The only thing that would have made this story better is if, like, the little girl was there. That'd make it more spooky for Halloween. Just the girl was there.
Oh, just hanging out.
Yeah, by herself. And she's like, I killed them. Mommy and Daddy don't breathe anymore. But there is, to this day, there's still nothing about what happened. They've not found the ship, even though this was years later. It doesn't really matter if they found the ship.
Yeah.
The issue is the time of the investigation could the Attorney General of Gibraltar been onto something when he said that
something was off?
Morehouse was the one causing this? Like maybe something like that. Did the judge in Gibraltar overlook that, not give a crap, say it was very clear that this and this happened? There's no blood on the ship. There's no, like, obviously in the 1800s, they don't really have the
forensics
and stuff, but there's no, obviously there was there was something that showed like some struggles. There really wasn't like struggles in like the fighting struggles, I guess, but like there were struggles in battered type of thing.
Yeah, there's like no cannon holes.
No.
Like,
not even these ships even had like actual cannon. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. They might have.
If you were on that ship, right? So I'm assuming something bad. Well, obviously something bad happened because they disappeared. If you were on the Mary Celeste and it was like a matter of pirates or not necessarily pirates, but like the De Gratia trying to take you out, or underwater volcano, or a sea spout, or a water spout, or a squid, or octopus, how would you want to go?
Octopus.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Water spout sounds cool too if it got shot up in the air. And then come down into the octopus's mouth.
Wow.
Or like it grabs me out of midair, spikes me.
Yeah, I think the octopus thing would be cool.
Just to say,
just suctions right to you and just slams you on the deck and you're done.
Yeah, that'd be right. There's a move again.
I think a sea spout or a water spout would be terrible because I feel like you'd be drowning as you're being flung around.
Maybe.
Unless you're like stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah. Like in your bathtub, like a drain.
Yeah.
It'd just be cool then. It'd be a ride. There's like water slides like that where you go in a circle.
Yeah. Like that big bowl, remember?
Yeah. There's a movie called Sea Beast. It's a cartoon. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix producing. It's like a animated thing. It's about sea beasts.
Oh.
Awesome.
Okay.
Ships trying to kill these beasts in the ocean. It's pretty good. It's a kid's movie, but it's really good.
All right.
Monster Islands and stuff. But reminded me because like there is a sea beast that they go after.
Yeah. But what if that's if they did, it was a hallucinogen or like a hallucinogenic property from the alcohol. Again, like it's never been recorded for, at least as far as I know. They just made them lose their minds.
And they jumped in the ocean.
They just jumped in the ocean like drunk and happy.
There's a little girl too. 2-year-old.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the boat was gone.
Right.
They would have just jumped in.
Maybe they
and there was ladders to go up the side of the boat.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yes, yeah. Or like, yeah. I don't know, man. I think not ideally, but the coolest thing would be a giant sea monster.
You'd hope it was a sea monster.
Yeah. At least for like to go out to glory like that.
It just makes as much sense as the rest of them because other than the insurance fraud, like by Judge Gatia.
Right.
For whatever reason, they got it. That's what some people actually believe. The other thing is the explosion. The most popular theory is the explosions.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was I would think that if I had to choose between the explosions and the insurance fraud, I would think it's the insurance fraud.
Yeah. I feel like the explosions would have to keep happening and make it and sound like they're ramping up in order for you to flee the boat like that.
Right. Knowing that your money's tied up in the ship. You abandoned the ship.
Right. Yeah.
Knowing that you abandoned such a fast way that you're not coming back.
Yeah.
If Captain Briggs was leaving, he took his stuff with him, he was not coming back.
Yeah.
Especially when they cut the rope, like all that. They weren't coming back. But then obviously they died. Maybe it was a storm, with explosions.
They accommodated, yeah.
They jumped in this little ship, but he would be smart enough not to jump in a little ship. He's an experienced boat person.
Yeah. Plus
sailor.
His, daughter with him as
right.
wife.
He's not going to just jump in a little boat because he knows that in the middle of the ocean they're going to die.
Yeah.
Unless they were close enough to one of the Azores Islands. And so he thought, okay, jump in here. We can make it there.
Yeah.
But then he's abandoning this venture he has, all of his life savings.
I feel like, it's all tied up into that.
So if he knew that he had to abandon it because he knew there was no way they were going to survive.
No other option.
Like, there's so many little things that you can look at.
Right. Like the rope cut is being cut. Yeah.
There's so many, like, every theory you can come up with has like a alternative. Like
makes
a
you think
reason
like,
why.
This is definitely, and then like this one small little tidbit. You're just like, nah, I don't know now.
Yeah. Fighting someone. He had a sword. He left a sword there.
Yeah.
Explosions. He would have it would happen so fast. Like, just so many things.
Well, another one we'll never know. Or just say it's
I think that we have
aliens.
to call it there. The aliens get him again.
The aliens win.
What if it's alien octopus?
I mean, I feel like octopus are aliens. I mean, like...
Yeah, that'd be cool. Squids.
Yeah, like
octopus.
They're the weirdest looking thing.
I don't know. Have you ever seen like a axolotl?
Oh, yeah.
Those things are freaking weird, dude.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, thank you for being here. I don't think we're going to solve this one, but thank you for coming along in this spooky journey with me.
Spooky journey.
And thank you to our listeners, viewers, however you're enjoying this story. This has been the Mysterious Pals. I want to first just mention, again, website, mysteriouspals.com. Will take you to our link tree, which will be linked to our social media, linked to our YouTube and all the podcasts platforms, which you may be using one or the other. Our social media, specifically, we're using Facebook and Twitter right now. We may branch out a little bit. We'll see how well those work. Good way to contact us is through email, through Facebook, through Twitter. We look for suggestions on stories we can look at, especially, again, less known stories. Like the specific episode 2, Bangor Fort was a great one. Last episode we talked about Dyatlov Pass, pretty well known one, but still super strange.
Yeah.
So go back and listen to that, as well as our other ones. Amber Room, the episode on CIA and what's that guy's name?
Gary Webb
and CIA, and that was, while it's pretty modern, still a huge mystery and very interesting. I would also thank Bethlehem for our theme music.
Yes.
Escape from Wolf Mountain is the name of the song.
They have a music video for that. That's really good.
I linked their YouTube channel,
okay,
like in the video, like
nice.
At the end, like in one of those, whatever those are called, the slide things that go on there, whatever. You'll see it. It'll pop up. YouTube's weird. Yeah. If you're listening on podcast feed, Bethlehem.bandcamp.com. Again, the song is Escape from Wolf Mountain off their album Maelstrom of the Emerald Dream. Apparently they're going to be coming out with a new album soon, releasing, I don't know when, but soon.
They're just on tour too.
Yes,
so don't go see them because it's over.
Yeah, don't try. Yeah,
it's already happened.
All right, well, thank you for being here again, and Jordan, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for bringing the big salad, and next time,
happy Halloween too.
Happy Halloween if you're here in the United States. And as always,
stay mysterious.
Stay mysterious, friends.
And a friend.
Stay mysterious and a friend.
Yeah. Is that right?
Mysterious friends.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure.
Thank you again, everybody. Good night.